seen using that
Yeah,
DVD service. It was great.
same. But my queue stayed so deep. And now I've replaced that with one of the TV apps out there, TV Time, I think I get, where I just,
Oh,
oh, that looks like a fun movie or show. Look it up, put it on a list. I mean, my list of things to check out is just massive.
dude,
So
yes.
big.
I need a list. I need a good list because those movies come out on Netflix and they promote them for like a week and then they drop off kind of. They don't show them to you anymore. Like
Hmm.
it took me a year and a half to remember that Extraction had come out and I'd wanted to watch that when it dropped, but I just
I
didn't have
watched,
time. I forgot about it.
I watched Distraction 2 last night.
See, I still haven't seen that and I forgot
Yeah.
about it until we just started talking about
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
So you need to make a modern TV show series. So then you have a reason to have to watch these things.
Yeah. I need more reasons to sit in front of the TV.
No, I know, right? That was the thing. I did opening nights. I'm just trying this out here. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
cool. I did opening nights on Marvel stuff for a while, because I did a show that was about pop culture. And we had to stay on top of these things, and we did. And it's like that. I knew that was kind of the beginning of the end of me doing that kind of show. Because I got a point like I do not want to go to opening night of this fill in the blank geek movie right now. I want to go on Monday, but we got to
Yeah.
record on Friday. So yeah.
Yeah. I want to go Monday at 10 a.m. when no one's there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was always my jam, man.
Hmm. I used to love opening days. Now I'm like, what about a matinee on Sunday morning?
Yeah. That I don't even know nowadays with my schedule and stuff what they do. But now that used to be our family times. Like on Sunday mornings, we'd get up and go to the 10 or 11 a.m. movie because you could
Mhm.
get in for $5 a person and nobody was there.
Yeah. It's great.
It was. All right. Looks like so we should be good and live now. I have actually never used the whole guest can stream to their own thing, but you're welcome to play with that if you wish.
I'm
I'm gonna
just
throw
waiting
on
to hit
the
that button. We're doing fine here. I told everybody this is where we are, so this is
fair
where they
enough.
can find us.
All right, let's do this then. This is Behind the Track with Steven. Oh, yeah, everybody. Let me get rid of the cover here. Here we go. All right, did it right. I'm a professional. Every once in a while I get it right. I am here with none other than the secondary host of H&H and Hand Shoes and Horse Grenades, I think is what it
That's it.
was, back when they aired 10 years ago. And but to celebrate the fact that he hasn't podcasted in 10 years for that show, he does a show called Those Were the Days where he just recounts those episodes, word by word with new people. And it's a lot of fun. How you doing, Steven Adams?
I am doing very well, Charles. It's very good to be here. Thank you for having me on Behind the Track. This is really exciting.
I did see. I respect you more than most that I bring on here because I did not even do the hey. Let me look up with AI who Steven is. Mostly because you showed up right as I gave you the link at 7:30, and then we just been catching up and chatting. And
Yeah.
that's the best way to keep me on track is to not let me get into my head and say, "Hey, this will be funny," and then do that. Although you can't fix the horrible intro I gave you, but you actually did get your start with Horseshoes and Hand Grenades.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Horseshoes and Hand Grenades is the show that got me to stick with podcasting. Like I've been doing this since 2005. Like I had a couple
Mhm.
little shows. All of us who
Sure.
are in this game had like a couple little shows that made it 10.
1984, this guy, just saying.
Nice. Good year. Good year.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm podcasting about Back to the Future.
yeah.
Prove me
Way back
wrong.
in the day. I was, yeah. But yeah, I did Horseshoes and Hand Grenades with my sister-in-law, good friend Smashie. We started in 2007 doing that show,
Nice.
inspired by World News Weekly. You remember in the grocery store when you're with your mom and the black and white, like Bad Boy, or okay. So we're gonna get one of those magazines or whatever you call them, tabloids every week and go
Yeah,
through.
yeah.
We were like, this is gonna be great, and then we started looking up stupid news like that really happened, and we were like, this is better. Let's do this. And it slowly evolved into just a show where we basically talk to each other and randomly come back to a news story when we're getting lost.
And sometimes that's how it goes, right? It becomes more about the host and the conversation than about the topic.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then we built the community around our friends and our camaraderie between each other and them. And then it's like I tell people whenever, we're at Dragon Con and people ask questions like, hey, what's a good way to, how do we format our podcast? What do we talk about? Like just anything you want, but anchor yourself somewhere. And that's kind of what we do. We anchor ourselves in odd news, but we talk about whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Like if we get way off base and we feel like we're floating, we just grab the next news story and we're back in the zone. That's my technique. Yeah, that's the secret sauce, everybody.
I like it. Format can be the anchor for you.
Sure.
So I have my own little show called Wise and Nerdy. There you go. And it's dad talk and it's geek talk all mixed together. Because honestly, I'll be real. The ones that I've heard, I can't say I've heard every dad cast out there or whatever. The ones I heard are trash. Either they're way too oversimplistic and patronizing, or they lean into the humor of we're the bad dads and this and that and the other. And really, it didn't even start off with that. Joe and I did Pokemon Go podcast, and then we decided, hey, we're having a lot more fun, and our audience is having a lot more fun in the after parts of the show where we're talking about what's going on in our lives, and he and I really wanted to talk to each other about things. So we started Wise and Nerdy, and the anchor is the format, which is total chaos. And I love it because we roll the die. We had 6 areas that we're going to hit, and each one we have show notes and everything, and each one of those areas gets a blurb of some kind, just something to remind us what we're going to talk about in that section. And then you roll the dice, and then it just goes where it goes. And then it turned into this dadcast thing of thanks for interviewing me, Stephen, for coming on and promoting my show. I appreciate you, man.
To be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for this is the stream takeover night, right? I'm just be talking to Steven, and I'm just so excited about what you just triggered something so right though. And that's what you do. This is what Steven does. He'll get on a panel, and even if he's not a moderator, this is it. He says like 2 or 3 lines, and boom, the conversation is going. Maybe you should be the wise part of Wise and Nerdy over on the show.
Well, slow down. I don't think I could fill your Joe's shoes because you're. And I was gonna say, like, the cool thing, what you just said about Dadcast and how all of them were kind of crappy. Authenticity is really all I think people want. And if you can talk as a dad who's both good giving advice, but also understanding my advice sucks, like as all dads can't talk to other dads with anything useful. We're all just floundering and doing our best. Like, I think that's cool, man. I'm into.
Well, please like and subscribe. I'll wait.
Yeah, will do.
But Steven, so we were talking about H&H, right? And nobody, I feel like nobody gets my joke except you, which I still love. Is every time I say Steven, because then you're branding for the longest time, and still is to some point, Steven H&H. And it just cracks me up to make that horrible noise. So I do it, and it annoys the crap out of everybody.
That works.
But you're now doing Those Were the Days with a few other awesome people.
That's right. Those Were the Days is me, Amy Frost, who you might know from a podcast called Ache Willow. It's an incredibly great little cozy, spooky cafe fiction story written by J.F. Dubois, who's been to Dragon Con many a time as well. TV's Travis is on the show. He does I love TV's Travis. And Audie Norman is on the show. He's been doing the Highlander show with Travis. Audie's amazing artist. I'm sure who would love commissions if you're out there looking for him, the Audie Norman. So yeah, we do the show with them, and it was my idea to just find something to do while Horseshoes and Hand Grenades was kind of like off schedule, where Ashley had just had a kid, so things were not conducive to doing a podcast on a regular schedule. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna do something. And I've loved classic TV since I was a kid. Like, I honestly, this is what I tell people is that when Nickelodeon extended their hours to 9 o'clock, I was the only kid in the universe who was upset because it meant Nick at Night didn't come on till 9, and that was past my bedtime. Like, I was watching like at 8 p.m. and I was so happy to be watching it at like
Yeah.
7 or however old I was. So it's
What
just,
about the spinoff? I think that Nickelodeon did the TV Land.
oh yeah, I love TV Land. That came on like much
God, you're
later
such an
though.
old soul.
I am, dude. My body's just catching up to my soul. Like I'm super duper old
you're
already.
you're the most ancient modern person I know. I mean,
That's a compliment.
yeah, again, I I know you probably have, but you even made a reference before we started going about, hey, you can't shoot from the hip and tell dirty jokes. Like, but Steven, I don't know that I've ever heard you tell a straight up dirty joke. I think it's like Andy or Carol Burnett, even. It's the implied dirty joke. And I
Yes.
mean, I was working on this big intro, decided not to go into it, but about, Andy, here's, I'm gonna read some reviews of those were days. Andy Griffiths wrote in and said he needs his purity back. You're too pure for him, Steven.
Ah,
That kind of stuff.
yeah.
But in all honesty, you can take any curveball that's thrown at you, but you really are the Andy Griffin of today's modern broadcasters, man.
Yeah, I'll take that. That's all right by me. I love Andy Griffith. That's fine. Let's
No,
go.
Griffin, that's Peter Griffin's wish brother. Like
Oh,
you get
right.
a
Oh,
wish and get Andy
yeah.
Griffin.
Andy.
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
It's just a bass line instead of a whistle. Don't. Yeah, whatever that
yeah.
thing song was.
But dude, like the only way I know how to be is me. And what you I mean, I don't know what else to do. Like I if it's Andy Griffith, that's great. I'm just not, I try to be, but I don't try to be
No,
pure.
you're you. You're you.
This is how it works. Yeah. I like being the
Yeah.
straight man to Ashley's chaos on Horseshoes and Hand Grenades is part of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
one
let
of our
Smashie.
comments. Yeah,
Yeah,
Smashie.
absolutely.
Um, I do apologize for breaking up your show. Because you two came to Dragon Con. She got to meet me, talk to me. Then after that, just
Yeah.
things went downhill. I'm sorry, man.
Well,
Sorry.
she came to the show, or Dragon Con 7 months pregnant or something like that. So it
Yeah.
wasn't long after that the
Yeah,
show
yeah.
was.
We'll say it was the pregnancy. Sure,
That's
sure.
what I mean, really, she tells me sometimes, she's like, if Charles just hadn't have said anything to me, we would still be doing the show. I was like, dang it, you're right.
There's
Really?
still, there is still, yeah, exactly. There's still this stupid thing that follows me around because of her.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I don't know where it came from. Look, this is I'll tell you this to make you feel better. If Ashley gives you a nickname, she loves you and you are her best friend for life. There's very little you can do to get away from it. So I think it's a badge of honor that you are the rock god of garlic
The
for
rock
her.
garlic of podcast. 'Cause that's what she heard was
Yeah.
rock garlic. And then somebody took it upon themselves, you maybe, to draw
Maybe.
that. So it's a big
I
garlic
didn't-
thing with the earring and a mohawk. Is like, and I couldn't hate it. It was a good drawing, and it's a good piece of humor. But I was like, seriously, you
it was
killing
so-
me. Yeah.
yeah, that
Crew,
was ridiculous. Yeah.
Charles is responsible for more breakups than divorce court.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. So yeah, we gotta get TV Travis to Dragon Con, man.
He's coming. He's coming. I actually got us a room, and Travis is getting a ticket. We're coming. So you will have at least me and Travis at the show. That's going to be great. I was like,
I'll take it.
Yeah. So now confirmed. Travis will be there.
I'm going to be a little I'll hit him up because I know he doesn't watch this. He's TV's Travis. He's busy signing autographs or something.
Yeah, he's doing big stuff.
But I'm going to be selfish, and I want to do a wait you haven't seen live with him.
Oh, that'd be
there at Dragon Con. Yeah, I want to sit down. Maybe we can get some of the heavy, the fun people, on to do different things. But I got to be on it once. I've already hit him up this year. It's like, hey man, I would like to get back in rotation and get on. That was a lot of fun. I've been listening to every episode since then. And it's a really good show, and he's a interesting guy, and he can't be married. He does so many podcasts, right? I can kind of tell your relationship status is not there's married, there's single, there's it's complicated, and there's podcaster. And his says podcaster on it.
That's so good. Yes, that's exactly right. He's got a lot of things going on, a lot of irons in the fire. So, but yeah, that would be sweet. You guys would have a blast doing a show like that.
Yeah, live. I mean, all the people come out. Then okay, this is a very fair question. Then how are we two still married? I got my wife to podcast with me some. That helped. Steven?
Yeah, my wife is endlessly supportive of what I do. She's been to Dragon Con with me a few times, and she's like, "We'll do stuff in the day with the kiddo, and then when they get done, she's like, "Go, this is your thing. Go see your friends. Go do your podcast and deal." Like she doesn't listen to any of them, but she loves that I do them and that it makes me happy. And I'll
Uh,
take.
that's one of my favorite troll things to do on TikTok is in the first 30 seconds, like, all right, give it another 30 seconds. My wife will just like it and scroll on. And then I go on with the video, and and half the time when she sees that video, I'm sitting next to her. But no, mine definitely does not listen to any of my podcasts. Joe got his wife to start listening to Wise and Nerdy, and she does listen to that. But other than that, mostly no. Probably because they hear our crap all day long, and they get tired of it.
Exactly.
You know?
Yes, to hear me talk constantly because I am a talker and I have been since I was small, and I have not learned how to stop. So that's
Yeah.
most of the podcasters. And then we found out, oh, you can put your voice into this thing and send it out on the internet, and lots of people hear you, and we're like, this
Yeah.
is engaging full narcissist. Let's go. And then so
Speaking of engaging full narcissist, I need you to stick around on a Monday evening after Dragon Con and come to the after party and come sign the door of the studio.
I know I want to. I've just been such a so barn sour. I'm like, oh, it's Sunday afternoon. It is traffic.
Yes.
I got to get home. If I lived close, like if I was in like Conyers or wherever, somewhere close, Athens,
Sure.
then it'd be one thing. But like I got to get over all the way back to North Carolina, and it's I need a
How many
day.
hours, Steven? How many
It's,
hours?
it's only 6, but
Okay,
I'm in.
that's a decent. It's not like if you had said 4, I'm like, come on, man. I went and bought a motorcycle in 4 and came back in one day. But no, 6 with a kid, especially, it can be, you're
Yes, that's
tired.
still a little tricky. But this year I'm flying solo. I think they're staying home because my kid's getting older, so school is getting more important. So we can't just drag him out. So we tell him it's important. I'll tell him the truth that no one cares once you get into your 20s. Everybody's like, who cares what you did?
Well, I mean, they care that you can speak well and can think
Yeah.
critically,
Ex-
hopefully. But school's not teaching you to think critically. But I mean, it is important to a certain
Oh,
extent. But
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You need it for your first job. And then after that, it's all networking. This is just
Hey, you've
no.
got an invite. Scott says you can crash at his place.
Hey, I appreciate it. That's a good guy, Scott. He's a good guy, like A plus, top notch human being, right there.
We'll go with A. Let's not give him a big head. He's an
All
A.
right,
He's
what
an
did
A
I
human being.
look? He knows.
Uh,
He knows how I feel.
yeah. All right. Something you touched on earlier, and of course, whole Mary thing touched on this, and then we're gonna get into your Dragon Con story. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do find it interesting because I thought, how do I say married? It's like this was my job, and when I met my wife, I was going to be a rock star because there was no podcasting then. I knew I had to communicate. I had to get out and give message. There wasn't really truly motivational speakers at that time when I was coming up. There wasn't anything that I could do now, right? It was rock star or preacher, and I saw the preacher's life, and that, as you can imagine, probably not for me. So I was trying to go, and to the point that I even embarrassed my wife that when I met her parents, I'd met them once or twice, but we all went out like this double date thing, and they're telling me, what are you gonna do with your life? And I was honest. I'm honest to a fault, dude. And I was like, I'm gonna be a rock star. And I was like, don't say that. I'm like, but they asked. Why wouldn't I say? I mean, I don't have stars in my eyes. I'm putting the work in. I didn't say I'm great at it, but it's what I want to do. And so when podcasting came around, it was very much this is what I do. And the more I actually got into it, the more, and I did come up through the early days, and I did help build some things, and I did make the mistakes that you don't make now, because it's been made easier, whatever. But I was like, no, this is it, and my wife could see that in me, and she is also very supportive. And it was before I had kids, so all of my kids have been documented on podcasts somewhere, leading up to the birth and the birth of the kids. I've got for me, a very fun photo of, I think it was the second child being born. And I'm literally in the hospital room with my soundboard and computer and headphones on, editing and mixing things. You're still 3 centimeters. Cool. Editing, mixing 4. All right. I'm just working because it's what
yeah.
I did, to the point of, with agreement, missing some anniversaries, missing some birthdays, just hustling and getting my name out there. And that's the life I knew. So to my
Yeah.
wife, it is a second job. And then you come along And this is where I want to hear your side of the story. And you're at Dragon Con and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do all these panels, and I got the kid, and we're gonna take some nap times, and this is like, wait, what? What? No, you work Dragon Con.
Yeah,
What do you mean you're gonna take a break? I don't comprehend this. You're speaking
yeah.
a different language, sir. What do you mean? And but you find that balance. What do you do?
I had to. Like I care deeply for my family. Like I love podcasting, and that's who I am in my bones. But like I also need to be there for them, and I understand my wife's needs. I understand my son's needs to a point where I'm like, okay, if we come to Dragon Con, I'm going to do what I can during the day with you guys. When I know things are pretty chill. But I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I have a little bit of guilt that I'm not down there in the trenches with you guys
Well,
all
you
day.
shouldn't have guilt.
Okay. I thought you were about to say you should. You
No,
should be.
no, no, no. I'm being real. I could be funny, but I'm being real. No, you
Well,
shouldn't. You
yeah,
shouldn't have guilt because you do. Everybody brings what they bring to the table, and the
yeah,
fact that you can balance bringing your family there and do family time. Like my wife came and worked it. That's what she did
yeah,
this year. If I bring my kids, they either stick around and work, or I send them off with their pod aunts and uncles to protect them while they see the con. You know,
yeah.
um,
Guilty is
but
probably
yeah,
the wrong word. That's not really what I remember. I have a bit of a superhero complex, in that I want to be everywhere for everyone who needs anything at any time, and you can't
gotcha.
do that. So like I have to really rein that in and be like, I'm at the aquarium, and I'm gonna be at the aquarium to watch these fish with my kid and everything and have a good time. But the other half of it is that they're both kind of introverted, so they get tired of the crowds. And then when they're like, "We're done. We're just gonna go back to the room," and that's when she's like, "Go have fun. You go take a few hours. If we want to come back out, we'll text you and you can meet back up with us and stuff." And it works. We make it work.
Yeah.
It's not always easy, but we know what my schedule is because you always set that ahead of time. I know where I'm going to need to be, and they come if they want to come to the show, or if not, they go find something else to do. There's a lot going on. There's plenty to see and do for them to stay entertained. So we make it work. We balance it out.
And that's the same with the way you record your shows. You set
Yeah.
time apart. And I do give you grief about H&H, but I don't get it. Like that's not my life. I do
Right.
get it in my brain that okay, Smashie had a kid, and that takes a lot. I know she tried to power through. I saw some episodes. I think I was on an episode where she was powering through. Um,
Yeah.
but it's okay. There's a balance to be had, and life does change. And I guess we all come from a perspective in life that we know, and like I maybe you do or don't know. But I was a preacher's kid,
Right.
and my dad was always on, and that's
Mhm.
I just knew nothing else. And because by extension, being the kids, if anybody's around, I had to be on too. And that's just my life. And I go work. It drives me nuts. I mean, Scott and I've actually talked about this at length too. Is part of who you are is that producer in you.
Mhm.
And I mean, Scott's a full-time, I don't know full-time, but he's a producer to his bones.
Yeah.
And we talk about having that same thing, going to a concert and going, oh, this mix is off, or that mix, or the lighting's wrong, or the show in us is coming out. And my
Yeah.
wife she'll look over, she'll know exactly what's going on. She'll just catch me looking up at something and looking around. It's like, stop, just enjoy it. I'm like, I'm enjoying it, but I'm also noticing the flaws and everything that I could do better. What's
Yeah.
fun though, and I think you might find maybe you have a story to tell too with this.
Mhm.
What's fun is I found in my wife, she does the same thing just in different areas of her life. Like
Yeah.
with team sports, we still have kids that are doing the rec ball and whatnot. And it's not even a season because we have so many different kids and they do so many things. Whatever the last thing was, there wasn't going to be a team mom. Just everybody was just going to sign up, and she tried to step back and take her hands off of it. And it drove her crazy because, as you know, Steven, people are dumb and they don't plan for anything and they don't really think about what life takes in the moment. So let's show up with 2 juice boxes and 3 apples for 10 kids, and she's that woman that she's always got the wagon of snacks. And this, I was like, yeah, see, now you get it. Now you get it. When I walk into a show and I start looking around, you get it now because you usually look at people the way I look at sound. That's all. But
Yeah.
have you found that partnership in your wife there?
Yeah, I mean, she's got her own things that she's super into. Like, she's an artist, so she does a whole lot of painting, and she's pours herself into being an amazing mom, like, and sitting and working with homework and being a room mom for the school. Like, that's where she finds her joy and what she wants to do. And I'm like, whatever you need to do, go do that. Have a great time. So we try not to get in each other's way with those passions. What you do have in your bones, because like you mentioned being a rock star. And that made me think, like, we have very similar backgrounds. I wasn't a preacher's kid, but I grew up in the church and stuff. But like, I knew I wanted to be a rock star, and you figure out along the way, like, I could be a rock star, but I think really at the core of what you and I figured out it was, it's just this desire to entertain
Yeah.
and be in front of people and share stories, or share something with people. We had to be out in front. And which is funny because I never viewed myself as a public speaker. But after doing the podcasting and feeling safe behind the microphone where I didn't have back before you could live stream, like we were doing podcasts, just putting it out there and you get comments once in a while, but you could feel like you were doing awesome,
Yeah.
even if you sucked at it and you got used to being it and you just flex this muscle that now, like, I host these demo day things at work where I use all my podcasting skills to make that thing like a dang party.
And
I
everybody's
do
like, wow, how do you
transitioning.
do that?
Yeah, and everybody's mind is blown. But for
Yeah.
me, it's just like similar to you when you walk into a space, you know
Uh-huh.
what you're doing and you don't
Yep.
feel out of place. And you're like, this is impressive. This is really like kind of lame. I just have two buttons I push to make the music sound good. But then I watch other things. I'm like, this presentation could use some spice, And I'm like, this guy needs to dial it up a
Right.
bit. You start feeling like you actually have something to offer if people want it. I'm there. This is what I do.
Yeah, early on, I don't think they'll mind me telling the story. If not, too bad. I'm telling the story. But early on, when Dragon Con had this shift to doing some virtual meetings for the directors, which is now a standard. Like we meet only twice a year in person, and everything else is a virtual meeting that we can do. And when they first swapped to that, it was what you would expect in the early Zoom days. Is people on their phone at their kitchen table, and I didn't have my camera on, and somebody called on me, and they're like, "Whoa, why did you have your camera on?" I'm like, okay, flip, and here's the microphone, and here's the studio, and here's everything. Like everybody just got quiet. Then I think it was Virginia's like, "Of course, you're digital media. Why would we expect anything less?" Well, I'm not trying to embarrass you. That's all. Because
Yeah.
I don't come little. I'll either turn the camera on or off. Those are the two options here.
Yes.
Because I come with the thunder.
Mm,
But yeah, I can imagine at work. You're probably super entertaining and fun. And you're just like, this is me light. Wait till you get me on the
yeah.
show or see me at Dragon Con. Then it's really on. But yeah, to them
Yeah.
is
The
a
only way
thing.
I know how to be. I don't know what to do different. I get on there like, "Hey, everybody, it's demo day. I just get all excited about people showing off stuff they built over the last few weeks. It's cool, man. Have a
Now
great time.
I'm gonna get back to something I learned about you recently that truly blew my mind. But we'll get back to that because I want to hear, as I do from everybody that comes on behind the track, what is your Dragon Con origin story? What brought you to Dragon Con?
Oh man. So I'd heard about Dragon Con and I lived in Tallahassee, Florida at the time. So it wasn't a big stretch for me to get to Atlanta. And we were like,
About six
okay,
hours.
yeah, about 6 hours. And I was like, I gotta go to Dragon Con. I think it was 2012 maybe was the first Dragon Con we went to. I found out that, like, so at the time I had podcast heroes like Brian Brushwood, Justin Robert Young were like two amazing humans. I need to meet them or whatever. I had Tom Merritt and Veronica Belmont. There was like this,
Yep.
like,
Sword and
there's
laser. Yeah.
group. Yeah, the Sword and Laser group. And then there
Frog
was
Pants group, basically.
Frog Pants. Yeah. I mean, I was
Yeah.
in those circles. There's like this Venn diagram of those
Sure.
groups. And they're all we're gonna be at Dragon Con. And so I told Ashley about it. I was like, we do a podcast. We should go to Dragon Con. And we went, we had shirts. I think we did the most promotion of anything we've never interacted with, like directly. Like we weren't involved in the track at all. But we had Horseshoes and Hand Grenades t-shirts. We had little cards
Nice.
we brought with us. We were like, this is gonna be our breakout moment. A buddy of ours named Matt walked around with a backpack with a camera and microphones in it. So we would just stop in the atrium in Marriott and just drag out the microphones. He'd pull out the mini DV camera, and we
Nice.
would do man on the street junk, like right there.
Oh,
It
that's
had
fun.
the best time. Never even, and all we could think was, man, what if we could do a show at Dragon Con? That would be so cool.
I'm
Didn't
so
decide to
sorry
do it.
again. I'm sorry, man.
No, it's okay. Okay.
Your dream came true, and then she's like, "F it, I'm out."
Yeah, she's like, I'm
Yeah.
out. No, they had us in, and we had some. We've done multiple
Yeah.
cons now with live shows. It's been a lot of fun. But like, we went back in 2014, and we did kind of the same thing. We met a few more friends that have continued to be friends of ours that we showed up and met there. But it was, again, I think it was another year that Brian and folks were there. That was the year you were there, and the party where James Gunn showed up. We both went to that party, but didn't know we had crossed paths yet, because we didn't know. I think at that time you weren't track director yet. Was that Dunaway's?
No, Dunaway. No, that was Dunaway's second or third to last year.
Yeah.
So that was my first year, and the impression I was making was I'd stand up and ask questions. You know,
Oh yeah.
Because that was the year that Adam Carolla was first sued for a copyright infringement for using the term podcast, and it was hot and fresh. So I asked a question about that to the initial panel, and
Yeah.
it was different.
Yeah.
I did not talk to hardly anybody that year.
It's so sad. We could have had so much fun. Yeah, I sat next to Brian Dunaway at one panel. I don't remember what it was, but I was like, "Hey, man," because I was a big Frog Pants fan. I was like, "This is cool." I gave him a sticker and everything. I was like, "I know Brian Dunaway
cool.
now. I might be able to get on the show or whatever." Still didn't know what to do. Like, how did you get this thing? And I don't remember after that, 2014. Then we went back in 18, maybe. Is 18 the year 18's the year we did our live show, isn't it? Because you were
probably because if you brought the live show the next time you came, then it was under me because I brought your live show.
Because we finally figured out, like, Ashley had gotten really into promoting stuff, so she was just emailing people at different cons and different places, and I was like, Dragon Con has a forum, and that's when you form the Discord, and that was like, the Discord was money because it turned the Dragon Con digital media track into a community, not just like this ethereal plane where you didn't know where anybody was or how to do anything. I don't even know how I managed to find it. Might have been Twitter or something, but I was like, oh man. And I was on the ground floor. So I was talking to Joe, and he made me a mod in the Discord because I knew some stuff, because we'd been running ours.
And
you
knew some stuff. We put you to work.
It put you to work. So then it was just, we were off to the races. I was like, well, I'll just fill out this professional form. I've been doing a podcast since a million years ago. Let's go. And some reason, I don't know why, but you let me and Ashley do a show there, and I have never been more nervous in my life to do a good show. Like, I didn't even know what we were going to do. I was terrified. And you sat down and you're like, you decided to be the mixer guy for the evening. You're like, don't screw this up.
Oh, those are not the words I used. I did intentionally. I don't know. Every once in a while I can sense that urgency in somebody, and the wild hair comes out. Ask Tyra. She was texting me some things the other day, and I just punched her with it just because it makes me laugh, and she knows, but she still had some words for me. But I flew by, and Ashley and you kind of look up at me very expectantly because you saw me coming straight in. I just went, "Don't F it up," except I didn't say F, and I went right to the board. You're almost like, what? And I'm like, live, time to go. Y'all were great. You were great.
We had a great time. Like, we had so much help from our Legion of Dorks too. Like, we had Kelly and Zafo, who are part of our group, were helping us do the bingo game. Jacob was throwing candy. Like, we had the improv games we did. It was not a traditional Horseshoes and Hand Grenades episode by any stretch. We did like maybe 25 minutes of banter talking about the toilets I found that were a disaster. People really love that. And then, we were off to playing games. And I think that, I don't know why 80 people showed up in that room, Charles. I still don't know if people thought Horseshoes and Hand Grenades was something else. I'm like, they're definitely not here to see us, because we don't have 80 listeners on a good night. They don't know who we are, but it was a blast. It was like the Super Bowl for us. We'd been dreaming of that, but dreaming of it with no real understanding of how it worked. And then, you guys, it broke the seal after that. We started emailing cons that were local, and they were like, yeah, we need some entertainment. So we're like, oh, well, you come to the right place. We can totally entertain people. We've done it before once. And then we've done a few of those shows now, and they've all been great. So Dragon Con it was a goal, and then since then, kind of a launching point to trying to do more cool stuff. And I love
and I love that you said it was always a dream without a real understanding of what it looked like or how to get there. And that to me is the hardest thing to teach in life. Anytime I'm on a panel or something, that somebody asks me specifically, well, how do you do what you do? It really is just belief. Like we both said, we want to be rock stars, and we didn't know exactly what they meant, but it was entertaining, it's speaking, it's engaging in people's lives from a stage. And there is that part of it that was just born into us. But then it was like, okay, I'm just going to think about the biggest thing. And I took some of the best uh, uh, ideas from other people. Like I had a guy famously tell me, he's like, "Oh man, if we have a panel at DragonCon, that's you've made it." I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll take that as a goal of mine. Not
Yeah.
even really realizing what DragonCon was, and now here I am running it, and it's a cool thing, and it opens up more doors. You know, you guys, and you did kill it, and it's about energy and belief, and you've believed in yourself from day one. I mean, you said, "Hey, we do a podcast, let's go," and you
Mhm.
t-shirts and stickers and cards, and you're ready to go because it wasn't just a, "Hey, please listen to me," or "I don't know if I'm good enough." You went, "No, this is
Yeah.
cool. I want to share this coolness with the world and be part of other coolness." And I think when you wrote that description, I trying to remember the exact path it took for my side of it, because every application that goes for pro, unless it's a known somebody, and even then they kind of ask me, would you use them enough? Like Bosch, I mean, they pretty much check
Yeah.
mark Bosch every year. Now that they
Great.
know him and know me and all that. But pretty much everybody else comes through me. And I remember you guys coming in, and I want to say maybe that's when I looked you up.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew you at the time, and saw. I mean, I really feel I really feel arrogant when I say this in a bad way, but within a minute, I can tell if you're gonna make it or not when I see
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
stuff.
Good radar.
It's just that energy that pops, the way the site's formatted. Sometimes I can get past, okay, I didn't know how to format my site. Cool. But it's that content. And when I hear it, and I mean, I don't even think it took 30 seconds for me to go right back to me and go, done. Bring them in. We'll
Oh
use them.
wow. Dang.
It was just that energy that when I say professionalism, it really is that heart of we're entertainers. We're doing this. We believe in ourselves. Even if we're faking it, we're making you believe that we believe in ourselves. And that comes through instantly. So that's why I felt comfortable, especially because the flyby came after the rock garlic, a podcasting incident. And so I was like, I'm going to get you back a little bit. But I also knew that y'all would kill it because I'd started
Yeah.
listening to your show at that point and all the way leading into it. And now we use you a little bit more, probably not as much
Yeah.
as I meant to this year, but we use you more as a moderator and on panels. And how's that go for you? How do you like? It's a
Dude.
different thing than doing live, and I feel like it's a step. Not that live is bad. Definitely bring your show, but
Sure.
I feel like as a performer, as a producer, as a person that creates, a creator is the word I'm trying to look for. That is a step up of what you're doing with moderating and being a panelist.
Yeah, it's a different like, how to do your own show. That's ingrained in you. Like, maybe you're doing it in front of actual humans in a room, but, like, moderating is a whole different you're flexing a different muscle a little bit. You're trying to make sure you're generating conversation and make sure you're kinda controlling the flow of things so that everyone who wants to ask a question or be a part of that conversation gets an opportunity, and you're taking the spotlight kinda off yourself. Like, you're kind of this hybrid of I'm moderating. I kind of also know some things, but I really want to make sure that these people next to me get the focus and they all get their moment and they all get like some big thing that they want to say out. So I love doing that. Like, I think, coming out of Dragon Town, you're always super like hyped to make everything.
Right.
It's just infectious. You're just around all these people. So like I just got sat there like on the drive home and I'm like, I just had fun building people up. Like that was a blast. Like seeing people who didn't know what they were doing or had questions just going, no, you're great and you might not know it yet, but you can do the thing. Um and giving those opportunities to be in that zone instead of the look at me zone, it's in the let me help you zone. And I had such a good time with that. Moderating was great. And thank you for putting me on several panels. And a couple of them, we had pitched anyway. So I was excited to moderate those. But then I think I went on a couple others. I'm like, oh, this is pretty great. I didn't know what this was, and now I'm having fun.
Yeah. Weren't you on the imposter syndrome panel?
That was the one that Phil and I talked about and pitched kind of together. I sent the form in, but Phil and I had been workshopping it from Botched. If you're
Which
not familiar.
still blows my mind. Now, Phil, I know Phil, and he's just a dirty little orphan. But it surprised the crap out of me. Okay, for those you don't know, I realize I'm telling some inside jokes, and we got a wider audience. Phil's a really close friend of mine, and he would have laughed. I would have said it if he's here. Sorry, I realize sometimes my mean humor doesn't come. If it's to you, they get it. If it's not, anyway.
Yeah, I get it.
But it did blow my mind that honestly, it blew my mind that everybody else who was on the panel has imposter syndrome. I'm like,
Yeah.
but you are like, to me, you all are the rock stars that I will put on every single panel that I think you fit on, because I know you're going to carry the water and you're going to make the show happen and you're going to entertain it. You could take the speed bumps. And here all of you are in a support group going, I'm not good enough. I'm like, Jesus Christo, yes, you are. Come on. But
Yeah.
it is a great panel. It was a panel that we're going to do again next year.
Oh, good. I'm really, because I think what you're seeing is like there's an internal battle going on always, even in the people that are out there, and you're like, that guy knows exactly what he's doing. He's got it figured out. Look at the confidence level, and it's like you're just constantly battling this demon of like, what if you said something stupid? Like, and some of that imposter syndrome
build
is
your
just
brand on it, and then you're okay.
yeah, right. Yeah, I just say stupid stuff all the time. I kind of have. I've got some a little bit of branding related to my backpedaling, because I do that. I'll say something and I'll be like, "Oh, that came out really wrong," and I'll try to like work it back. I'm real bad at replaying every conversation I have and like spending the next 20 minutes going, "What in that conversation did I say that was embarrassing or stupid?" And that's imposter syndrome. That's like where it comes from. Like, it's no one's thinking about it. No one cares. You're the only one worried about the voice in your head. Everyone else is having a great time.
Tyra says that is so her as well.
Yeah, and it's a lot of us, and I think that's why I love Dragon Con so much. Is like in 20 like last year, not 2022 Dragon Con, 2021. I was talking to Mike Crignola, Mike and Steph, and they were just. I remember talking about it, and we were being very open about that issue of the anxiety thing. He's like, "Yeah, we're all just complete neurodiverse weirdos around here. You're in good company." And I was like, "That's why I love Dragon Con, because you can." There is an openness and a willingness to be vulnerable with a group of nerds who were all flipping vulnerable. We've all been nerds our whole life for the most part, and had to deal with so much bull crap that when you get us all in a room, we're like, "Hey, anybody just need a hug? Like, this is the best place ever." And that's what brings me back every year, is that freedom.
Yeah, and when you find your tribe and you're all nerdy, like on Wise and Nerdy, which can be found on YouTube.
Oh
my God.
This is you shoot your shot. You say that every time we throw it off. Like,
Yeah.
every time you get on the mic, say the name of your show. Every opportunity. I got that from you. I do it every time. On the mic, hi, I'm Steven. Those were the days in Horseshoes and Hand Grenades. I have a question.
Yes. Thank you. Because I try to teach people that constantly. Honestly, it is why I'm sitting here today doing this show, is because every time I got on the mic, I was Charles from whatever show I was doing at the time, and shut up, Groovers for Life, who's going to say I've killed. Well, actually, you weren't the one. I think it was Phil who said in the roast that I killed 48 shows or something like that. But look, everything has its lifetime. It's like George and Bison Men. It's sometimes the show's just gotta be puppies. But no, and actually, talking about finding your people, right? This is part of what this show is about, is talking about the creative path and the fan path. I mean, it's open to everybody, and just want to know where you link in with Dragon Con, where you link in with creativity, what you get from the track, those kind of things. But it really is opening new ideas. You and I were talking about a few ideas before the show started, when as I shamelessly asked to come on to other people's shows, which I do constantly. Hey, I'd love to be on your show, and we worked something out. But at the same time, like with the Wise and Nerdy, we are gonna start in the new year opening up some doors for nerdy moms and dads to come on and talk whatever the topics are. And one of the topics is always, what are you nerding out about? So you bring your passion and your love, but it's give some advice. It's can you get behind this? What do you think about that? What are you struggling with this week? And you would definitely uplift that show by coming on and making it a lot more clean and friendly. People love your energy. And going back to what you wrote in that description for Horseshoes and Hand Grenades Live, right? Yeah. It's just the energy you put on it, and then the heart that you put in it, that I think brought the people, and they stayed. they enjoyed it. And I
Yeah.
think life not being what it is, I think had you been able to do it every year, it would have become a staple show, because
Mhm.
it's just so open to everyone.
Yeah.
And kids, and honestly, I could say that it's probably helped inspire Wise and Nerdy, because I wanted to create a show that anybody could listen to. You would feel comfortable bringing your kid and sitting down. And to that point, when Tony and I did the super fantastic family friendly game show at different cons, the write-up is dumb. It really is. It's like, come for the chairs and stay for the free AC. We've
Yeah.
got some crappy prizes that you can give, and you decide the outcome. We're gonna play these kind of games. And the best moment I had in that, or all the best moments I had in that, came in one place. It was Pensacola, at Pensacon in Pensacola, Florida. And we got theater. We got to play this theater.
Oh,
That was
dang.
amazing, with professional lightings, and I knew, I know how to talk to sound guys. So I've been one. So I talked to the guy, and he's like, yeah, we can do this, we can do that, and very much played with us. And so we had all this great stuff. And this little girl came, and she volunteered and came up on the stage, and she's 5. And we played with her, had fun. She went off about her way. And we did 2 or 3 shows, I think, that weekend of that same game show.
Mhm.
And it was the next game show, whenever it was. And she came back, because ever since she left, they came up to us afterwards and told us this. But she volunteered again, like, hey, you're on the stage the other day. And we actually recorded this one. I have a video of when she came back. And I don't remember right now exactly what she said, but it was heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time, about how much fun she had and how much she loved what we did. And I was like, this is what I've been trying to get to. This is
Yeah.
what I've been trying to get to. And of course, then they came out, took pictures with us, and it wasn't the celebrity aspect. It was I was able to reach a parent and a kid, the whole gamut here of everybody. And that's what I've always wanted to do. And that's what you do with what you do. Do you think you would suggest doing those were the days at Dragon Con?
Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. We'd have to figure out like a really good format because I love audience participation and how
Yeah.
that works. So it would be like we'd have to figure out a way to make it those were the days, but like conversation around classic TV or something like that. Maybe not a single episode. But
How
I like
about
okay, I'm getting
just for a live con?
yeah.
Those are the days, a game show where you do some trivia based on the episodes you've already talked about, but also opens up. So when somebody answers your trivia, you can even have some random question moments of, like, this is what Wise and Nerdy did for live. Now
Mhm.
we had 20 people in, maybe 30. It's hard to tell when it's not over 60 in that gallery of 6. It's hard. It's a small crowd or it's a full crowd. I mean, it's hard to gauge. But we had okay. But we were constantly saying, okay, here's the question, and we guided everything towards Dragon Con because we're there. So if you do that with the game show on shows, exactly is what Tyra's screaming at us right now, uh, because you have even if it's just 2 of you that come, right? We could
Yeah.
probably work it out to try to zoom in the other 2, whatever. But if you have all for whatever, you're opening that up to them to play with you, and then you have to have some questions. It's not always trivia questions. It's what did you think about this famous moment on the show, or however you want to phrase it, and then that
Yeah.
gets that conversation going too. And that's what you're really good at. I mean, you're good at all of it, but when you're at Dragon Con, you're really good at that audience interaction. It's not just participation, but then they're interwoven into it almost.
Yeah, yeah. I want them to feel like they're part of the show. Like it's that's the big thing to me. And that sounds like that's a great idea. Like we could do a game show on shows. I think we could figure that out. And it'll definitely be me and Travis. If we could, and Audie's not far away from Atlanta. We could probably get him up there. Amy would be the wild card. But I
Okay.
think that's a lot of fun. Yeah, this is a great production meeting we're having here. I love it.
uh, this
Fun.
is this is this is to me the heart of Dragon Con. Once you
Yeah,
start connecting with people, it's not just with me, and I do love connecting with people, but everybody
sure.
can connect with somebody there. And that has been a story long before um that's been a story long before I came around of, hey, I met this person at Dragon Con, and boom, it sparked this project. Like Tom Merritt's comic book 10 State, I think is what it's called. That came out of Dragon Con because
Oh,
he was eating lunch with Lynn Peralta, and they just started spitballing ideas, and all of a sudden he does this limited run comic series, right?
so
Um,
cool.
Scott Sigler met at Dragon Con when in the early days of writing his first when he had written his first book and he was doing podcast stuff, and now they're married. But that's a cool thing there. All right. So the thing that I learned about you blows my mind. I did have fun duetting one of your TikToks. I don't remember what it was exactly, but something you sparked. It's just something about you that makes me want to have fun picking at you a little bit.
And that's
And
okay. Yeah.
yeah, and I know, and that's what makes it even more fun because I know it's okay. You're like, I love it. I love it. Uh,
Yeah.
so that was something. Then I start, because I did that, your videos start popping up more on my TikTok.
Mhm.
You're no joke on the guitar, man. I had no idea that you were into music at all. Like, I wouldn't look at you and go, hey, let's talk music. There's other people that I'm like, cool, let's talk old time lemonade and puppies on the porch or something. I don't know, Steve. But I mean, we talk parenting, we're creative. Like, but then you're like, yeah, Blink 182 just dropped a song. I want to play this. I was like, no, he's
Yeah.
like, it's like one of those things where you're mouthing the words, right? You're playing that. You can play the guitar.
I appreciate that. I've been playing for a long time. It was my first love. It was like we were talking about the rock star thing. It's what I wanted to do. I picked it up at 13 and I attempted to be Jimi Hendrix for about a year. Then I found out about pop punk was becoming huge in the late 90s when I was getting into guitar. So it just brought me in and I learned like you could be all right at guitar. And I had a band with a couple friends of mine, and we went and played shows and had a great time. And so kind of sat it down in my 20s, and I've just been noodling ever since. So that's
Man.
kind of what I was doing. And it's a great time. I had fun making those TikTok videos, and I had friends that were like, "Dude, you can shred. I didn't even know you played." And I'm like, "I cannot shred, but I can play this." I'm not Yngwie Malmsteen or anything, but I'm having a good time.
You know, Groove is saying we need to start that band, Steven, and then Tyrus coming. We need a music night on the track. I like the Irish and Celtic music pocket thing. Yeah, and that's what I was just kind of thinking. It's like, how cool would it be to have an area set up? I mean, it's super difficult, but how cool would it be that this instruments are just there, and because I would just like to jam for now. Scott, you, Phil, I've had to struggle with every instrument, and I do some okay singing. I have to work at it to be okay.
Yeah.
Um, that's why I kind of like screamo because I didn't have to be okay. I could just scream shit. But I do the instrument I never had to struggle with was the drums. And so I'm like, how cool would it be just to jam and I could sit on the drums, you could play and just have fun and just cycle people out and do
Mhm.
that. It's just logistically kind of difficult to do that because I mean, yeah, people can travel with guitars. It
Yeah.
depends on if you can drive and travel with amps. Drums are a little bit of a bigger issue to get in.
They're a lot. Yeah.
You
Me and
know,
Scott were actually talking about this in our Legion of Dorks Discord. We were like, what would be cool is like a cover band night thing where we
right?
could go in and just drop a handful of cool songs everybody digs and that'd be it. But I like the idea of just ad hoc performance. Like, hey, we got 20 minutes in between panels. Here's some
Yeah.
instruments. Knock it out.
Uh, yeah. Yeah. Uh, ad hoc drum is the
Yeah,
name of the band. uh,
love
uh,
it.
but that I think the next level of karaoke too is live band karaoke, to where with real talented musicians that you could key it down to people make match their
Yeah.
voices and that kind of. Oh, look at Bobby Black.
Oh yeah.
Man, Steve, I'm so excited you're here. I'm stepping all over my words. It's not even funny. Vogue Network, plenty of people bring drums to Dragon Con. There's drums. Okay, yeah. Now I was thinking too, that is something with bongo or Congo drums. You
Oh,
could
yeah,
do
yeah.
that. The portable drums. I'm look, man, it's on my wish list. If anybody loves me enough, go over to Amazon, look at Rock Out Podcasting. I got a $600 digital set of drums I'd like to have and play
Yeah.
with because I haven't been on a set and I can. Well, I mean, you can actually see that's my original drum head actually on the wall right
Oh,
behind me from when I
nice.
was between the ages of 18 and 28. I think that was. Um, but yeah, so I've always kept that drum head from my first drum set I had, but I haven't been on a kit in a while. But yeah, I mean that's actually how I learned that I was a drummer was living in Athens with UGA. I don't know if they do it anymore. I imagine they probably do. Friday nights, especially when the weather's great.
Mhm.
They don't do drum circles because it's on the sidewalk. You can't really circle, but it's essentially a drum circle. And I looked at the person. I was like, man, Now I've had some training. I play guitar, I
Yeah.
play piano. I've had some training. I was like, I'd like to take a shot at it. Guys like, yeah, man, 4 hours. I was like, okay, cool. Do I have to smoke weed to play your drums? No, cool. All right. And then I just played. I was like, oh, I wonder what else percussion I can do. Got all the way up to kettle drum in an orchestra before I quit searching.
Oh,
This
dang,
is
that's
fun.
awesome. Yeah.
I had no idea I could do that. So yeah, but I've always wished I had your kind of skills. So I'm gonna ask you this. This is something my cousin can do. Can
Sure.
you hear a song once or twice and start figuring it out on the guitar?
It takes me a lot. I am not that good. Like, the reason I can play some of those Blink songs is there's patterns. Every guitarist has kind of things they repeat, and you can hear it, and you know kind of where they're going because you've learned over the years how they work. But like with other stuff, like if it's power chords, I can work it out. But I am I do not have perfect pitch. I'm not even that great at timing. Hence why I can't play drums. Yeah, I mean,
Bobby.
Blink is mostly two chords. He's not wrong. So it's no, the riffs are they can be really fun and intricate with pull-offs and hammer-ons and stuff. It's a lot of fun. But I play that because you sound really cool without it really being that difficult. It's accessible guitar, But yeah, I wish I could. I wish I could pick it up and just play stuff that I hear. But I'm not that good. I always tell people
What?
I'm not a musician. I am a guitar player. Two different things in my brain.
Okay. Yeah, I guess so.
I can't read
You might
music. I don't understand timing very well. I just play and it feels
I bet you do though. You feel the timing.
feel it. I feel the timing. I can't count very well, but I feel the timing and I'm generally
Wow.
on time.
That's that North Carolina public education system for you.
I didn't go to school here, so it's Georgia's public education system.
Oh, well, I mean, I can tell you that's not much better.
Yeah, I grew
All
up
right.
in Athens. I'm not far from where you were.
Really? What years? What years were you in Athens?
I was there. Well, I was there until 96. So in like 90, 89
We
to
were
90.
there at the same time.
That's so cool.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I grew up
Uh,
in Watkinsville. It was just outside of Athens. So,
One of my bases, I just closed the base that was in Watkinsville because we bought a new building. We moved up the street
oh, cool.
a little
Yeah.
bit. Prince Avenue Baptist Church. You ever go there?
No, I do not remember that.
Okay. Because that's where, if we cross paths, that's where it would have been at the time.
All right.
How old are you?
I am 38.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, only that absolutely would have been the only place because it's enough
Yeah.
of an age difference. I was in the college age era at 96. I graduated
Yeah.
high school late 95 and all that.
Yeah.
Bobby says overlapped at the end of your Athens time. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I think I was there from 94, 93, 94 to man, I got married in 2000. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Scott says I thought you were older than me, and I'm like, well, I mean, my soul is because clearly
Yeah.
I'm into old crap that no one cares about. So you're kind of right. And my kid told me though that I've got until 40 before I'm old. So I was like, okay.
Oh, okay.
He said you'll be old when you're 40. I'm like, thanks, bud. Appreciate that. I got a couple
Yeah.
years.
Now that's the thing. If you told me you played washboard, I would believe that 100%.
That'd be
So
great.
here's the hard question I hit everybody with.
Mhm.
Where would you like to see digital media track go in the next 5 years?
Man, can we add an extra day? Like, there's so many things I want to see.
Since I've been coming, there's already been an extra day added.
Already an extra day. Yeah, like I love workshop. I love live shows, and I love workshops, and I love the audience participation stuff. I mean, we're doing a lot of really great things. I don't know. I don't know what the next big move is. I'm not a 5-year plan kind of guy. I do 2 weeks at a time. But I know I've enjoyed all the workshopping stuff that we've started to do, or like where you come in, ask technical questions and things like that. I know Joe and I mentioned one time, like if people could bring in gear that people could fiddle with, like they've
Yeah.
never seen like a nice mixer, or they don't know how the software works. Like somebody who's never done mix minus with voice meter and they want to understand it. Like that kind of stuff could be really cool to educate people on. I mean, I've done YouTube videos on voice meter mix minus, and it's gotten tons of views, and people are like, "Let's solve my problem." I'm like, "Sweet." So I know there's
So
questions out there.
Hire is definitely stepping on part of my idea, but
Mhm.
that's kind of part of my vision is a third room that is 90% workshops.
There you
You
go.
know,
Yeah,
because
that's it.
by the time we get large enough to have a third room, we would be able to get these sponsors for sure to send in some gear and for aisle and for uh what's the big pro audio one? I like Reaper, but what was the one is that's the industry standard?
Uh,
Um
Pro
I know
Tools,
Scott knows. Pro
and
Tools, that's it.
Pro Tools.
Something like that. High-end software, low-end software, and do 2-hour workshops. I know, Scott. I knew, but it was people are gonna ask. You saw what I'm
They're
saying?
gonna ask. They'll be auditioning.
Audacity, but yeah, have experts in there to teach, like, hey, this 2 hours is this piece of software. This 2 hours is this board, and he says, or how to do boards 101, and that's really what got me to buy this microphone. I have an ILPR 40 is
Yeah,
because I went to New Media Expo and they had a booth on the expo floor
yeah.
that you could sign up for and do live shows and record there. And they had a sponsored kit, which I really have a beef with the guy who sponsored it and how he treated podcasting, but it
Yeah.
did give me a nice Mackie board and two
Mhm.
ILPR 40s and some decent headphones. And I went in and go, oh, this is what it can sound like. And I
Yeah,
have an okay microphone at home, but this is what I can sound like.
yeah.
Got it.
And
You
even
know,
now, like USB mics are getting so much better. I swapped out a PR40 for this Elgato thing because it just made my setup simpler. And it's pretty dang good all by itself. And that's I think that's what I want to do is demystify two things. I want to demystify podcasting for people that think they need oodles of money to get started. And I
yeah.
want to demystify, like I think it was as Tyra said, the halfway to Dragon Con workshop day. Like, how do I do a show live somewhere? Let's demystify it. You talk to this guy, or you talk to us, or you talk to somebody
This
that's on
is
the panel and you just chat. Be there. Join the
this,
Discord. Be a
yeah.
part of it.
Elgato screams oodles of money.
It is. Well, I have like these work point things we do that I get these like Amazon cards every once in a while. I haven't bought a single Elgato thing out of my own pocket. I'm very
I
proud of
like
that.
it.
Yeah,
I
it's good
like
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
I will say a lot of my gear was gifted to me in different
Yeah.
forms. So it's always been a good thing. Uh,
Mhm.
uh, so my other idea that she kind of half stepped on is I would actually like to see a spring mini con just for us. That's DC digital creators that
Yeah.
we come to, and we really focus the panels on that, and then have, because it'd be just us, so we'd have a number of rooms to use, a small mini con, and we could have the music room, and we could do other little things and do like just a 2 or 3 day little thing, right? But
Yeah.
it's that halfway there, it touches base, it lets you workshops and stuff, hang out. 'Cause that's the biggest complaint I think a lot of us have. I've already seen Scott put it in here tonight that we don't have time to hang out and talk.
Yeah.
We can do a panel, we can shake hands, we can. I think you came into the green room, if you will, and had lunch for like 20 minutes with us with your wife and kid, and that was the longest 20 minutes I've gotten with you in a couple of years until
Yeah.
tonight, right? Until this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we don't have that time to just hang out, and I think that's really what I'd like to develop is 4 or 5 panels in a day to really talk about how to take our game to the next level and how to prepare better for this coming Dragon Con. And
Mhm.
then just this is the time to go, hey, here's some board games. Everybody go sit around a board game and swap ideas and talk and be human. And we're gonna
Yeah.
bring dinner in and we'll eat dinner together and just hang out. And I think that it's almost what's this? It's not Megamind, that's a movie. Mastermind. It's almost like a mastermind and a meetup but it's really about the swapping of ideas and inspiring each other without having to fully take on the weight of what Dragon Con is with the
Right.
newbies and the extra super celebrities and everything else.
Yeah.
Uh,
And you got so much going on in the middle of Dragon Con. Even when we get to hang, I know your mind is like over here. Like what the
yeah,
your next move. And that's okay. I'm not that's exactly what you should be doing. But yeah, it would be good to have like a just hangout time. Like there was a so right before botched in 2021, I guess it was, or maybe that whatever year I was there. They had managed to get in one of those in between rooms. They had the grand ballroom they were going to do the blood feud in, and
uh-huh.
we managed to like sneak our way into this room in between those two rooms. They're like,
Oh
just hang
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
hung out with every flip. I hung out with like Swan and the Corniolas and like everybody that was going to be on the Blood Feud. And all this is the best time ever. We were in there for like an hour and a half, and right before Blood Feud, and I was like, this is the greatest time. I would love to do this again. Yeah, Scott was in there. Like
Yeah.
that was money. I left that room pumped forever. Like I was so happy. I was like, these are all my people. I'm having the best time of my life. So yeah,
Yeah.
hangouts plus.
I would like that, half day hangout, half day us actually really refine our craft for Dragon Con there. And Tyra says, I've organized a 4-day conference before. Could we get Kennesaw State to sponsor it? Meaning we get the rooms at Kennesaw State and take that cost off the plate, because that would be baller. That'd be very effective, Tyra, and you could keep your job. Now that's a super inside joke that she's going to cuss me out for. As if Tyra didn't have enough on her plate. I know, right? She keeps volunteering for all this extra work. But in all seriousness, if we could see, that's the biggest part of the cost is a facility, right? The power of the internet. So if we get some kind of facility that would help us out as part of the sponsorship there, I mean, I know it's a big deal for a bunch of people to fly in. So I don't know, like, I don't even know that Dennis and Phil would be able to come, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there is a smaller contingent that absolutely would come in until it became a more important thing. And that's the thing. She says, if people stay in rooms, we can get conference space. That's the hardest thing to promise right now.
Oh,
So, but that's an idea. That's just an idea. I always plant ideas. We see where we go. I've talked about how I want to be, my next real step is I want to be the destination place for celebrity podcasts to come to their shows live. So definitely want to see Those Were the Days live there to start that trend off for us.
that'd be great.
Yeah. And Scott still says I'm financially recovering from Dragon Con this year. That's the thing.
Dragon hurts.
Yeah. So there's something to be said. Maybe we can do something, start something digitally, of just group hangouts kind of thing.
Yeah, those are hard, but I mean, better than nothing. If that's all we can start with, then that would be great. You're talking about put 5 people in a room, and be like, hey, and then chats and all that other stuff. I think we could do something.
I'm sorry. Last thing before we get out of here. Tyra says, libraries. Have you met me? I love a good library, but when I'm in Dragon Con mode, I am not library friendly. Any sense of the word.
We all love yelling into microphones. Let's go to a library. That should be fine.
So, all right, Stephen, where can they find anything you want them to?
Oh, they can find all the links to me at Linktree. It's linktr.ee/Steve H&H. You'll find all the links. But mainly, I want you to come hang out with me on Monday nights at 9 p.m. at twitch.tv/2dorkstv, where we do Those Were the Days. We're talking about Seinfeld in our upcoming episode. So come hang out and let's chat about Seinfeld. And then Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, when we can do it, when it works out, you're going to find us Thursday nights at 9 at 2dorks TV on Twitch as well. That's where you'll find me. You should come say hello. We're a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I used to, I think I'd pop in either before or after Pokemon Go podcast and give you guys.
Yeah, I remember you'd rate us and stuff. I remember that.
That was always fun.
Cool.
As Tyra's going to be putting in the stuff for what's upcoming, I'll tell you, check us out on tinyurl.com/digital. Actually, let me give you a better one than that. We also have the Linktree. Linktree/DC Digital Media. We'll have everything there. Your Discord, like you said, Stephen, it really is. It has a life of its own, which is what the intent always was.
Get in there.
And get in there. Bring your answers, ask your questions, just be a part of the community. Keep that I think has become the anti post-con depression for most people. It's like, oh, I don't have to feel empty. I still have this, and I can be and have those conversations in those moments here. And that's what I mean. Obviously, it's not the same, but it's enough. It's the Suboxone of cons, I guess.
Perfect analogy. That works.
I'm not a medical person, so. But definitely come out each week. I'm about to tell you what's coming up in the next couple of weeks, but you can find me personally. Again, the Linktree is all caps RGOP42, and you can find all my stuff there. And I wish you would. And they're busy talking about places we can. Places we can go do this con. Here we go. On 11/28, we have Logan Jenkins. That is the I had a joke, so I lost the joke, man. Wolverine. That is the Wolverine of World of Warcraft. He's going to be coming on with us. I saved the joke. It's okay. You
That was
humored
good.
me, and I appreciate that. See, that's what I love about Steven. He will still understand where the joke was trying to go and get that and laugh at that and not the bomb that actually happened in front of him.
I like it.
Then on 11/21, we've got open mic night coming up. And let me tell you about the open mic nights. You did one. So, in fact, let you tell everybody about open mic night. What's that all about?
Yeah, open mic night. You just take over the DC Digital Media Track channel, and you get to stream your show or whatever the devil you're doing to all the people that don't, that might not know about your channel. You get a bigger audience, and it was fan. We had a blast doing those. Were the days on it. It was great. Highly recommended.
So there you go. Next week, or not next week, I'm sorry, 11/21, the open mic night is going to be Flicker Effect with Dave Lott and Michelle. Michelle Casts, if you will. Both of them are great volunteers on the track and have been on this show. And I'm telling you, I got on Dave a little bit. I looked up Flicker Effect. It was just YouTube, and they hadn't podcasted in a while. I'm like, what are you doing, man? It's like, well, we shifted to YouTube. It's like, you do understand that you could just rip that as an MP3 and put it out. It's okay, maybe. And then he did. And I've been listening every show since. So thank you, Dave, for even if you only have one listener, it's me. And I appreciate you just ripping that file for me every week.
Don't discount the audio listeners, man. They're out there and they riding in their car. They need you. And you can just drag that video file right into Audacity and it'll strip out the audio.
Same with Reaper. Yep.
It's slick. I've had to do that a few times. We had botched audio recording.
Oh my God. There's another shirt we need for the track. Rip those files.
Do it.
GarageBand too. Yeah, all of them will do. So I'm very happy that they do their podcast or it really is a great video show on YouTube. You should watch it. They've done a lot of great work in the studio. It's amazing to look at. But I'm in the car a lot. And so I very much appreciate them doing the podcast. We do need a merch store. So that's coming up. And then I know we have one or two more spots left for the end of the year. I know Behind the Track is filled through the end of the year. And I kept trying. I saw your name come up in we're filled with everything. Okay, gotcha.
Oh, good.
I saw your name come up in the list because Tyra's filling me. Like, somebody so. And I kept, each week I'm like, I'm on with Steven this week, right? She's like, no, that's November. I'm like, then the next week, I'm on with Steven, right? No. And then this week, he's like, you're on with Steven. I'm like, are you sure?
Is it this time?
Yeah, but I've been looking forward to this. I loved guesting on your show because we got to talk for 2 hours and play and have fun on Horseshoes and Hand Grenades. And I liked it. I think we've had you and Smashie on different shows that had guest spots open. And I really think in the new year we're gonna open up a spot for people to come and be geeks on Wise and Nerdy with us and have fun with that. So awesome. Well, you tell Smashie that in the new year she's got to come on and talk about all the podcasting she doesn't do anymore because she's better than us, and that's okay. We appreciate it.
I will be sure to tell her that word for word next time I see her.
Let's play this clip. Speaking of which, you mentioned something about moderating earlier, and I used a new marker feature in StreamYard, so I'm going to try to pull that clip and we're going to use it. So, all right, everybody, tune in next week, and we've got open mic night. Again, that's going to be Dave, Michelle Cass of Flicker Effect. It's a lot of fun. And just like and subscribe to this channel because we've all got something awesome going on related to Dragon Con. I guess I should have hit this. So we're just going to play a little music. Bye, everybody.
See you, everyone.